Today in the 5-minute saltwater aquarium guide, sometimes things don't go the way that we like. Corals can sometimes show signs of stress or even die, but as long as we're prepared and we know what to do beforehand, that part of the journey can just be a bump in the road. There's something really satisfying about spotting a problem, instinctively knowing what to do, and then implementing the right actions. All that's coming up. Hey, I'm Ryan, your host of BRStv in the 5-minute saltwater aquarium guide. This is a clear, simplified, and direct path to setting up a first successful reef tank. Today, unless you follow all the best practices perfectly, which to be frank is nearly none of us, the challenge is almost everyone will run into a phase where the corals don't look so great, maybe even losing some tissue, and after some time, may even die. We obviously want to avoid that today. We're going to get the knowledge and tools to solve that kind of thing in a vast majority of cases. Simply knowing what to do is one of the challenges here, and we're going to beat it. I'm going to sum up a vast majority of the possible issues in water parameters, lighting, water quality, or pests. All this guidance aimed at the types of corals that we put in these two tanks and the types of issues that reefers run into in that first year. The number one cause of coral issues in a first tank is water parameters, particularly if a variety of corals are all showing issues at the exact same time. There are 4 parameters that I'd look at, and they matter in this order. Salinity being number 1, because when salinity is off, everything's off. We're looking for 35 parts per thousand. If it's off a point or two, you probably won't see an immediate major issue, but more than that, the risks are increasingly high. In either case, it should be fixed once identified. Reducing salinity is just removing some salt water from the tank and replacing it with fresh RODI water. Increasing salinity is just adding some salt water to the tank and letting the excess water evaporate off. For larger increases where salinity is way under like 30 or 25 parts per thousand, a series of larger water changes might be the best solution. Next is alkalinity. This is the most important single parameter. By most important, I mean let this be the main takeaway from today's video. If you maintain stable alkalinity, you'll be 100 times more successful than if you don't. Right after that is calcium, and still important, but to a lesser degree, magnesium. If any of these 3 parameters are off, an easy, low-cost method of fixing is the BRS calculator and related 2-part. Check out the 5-minute guide episode on calcium and alkalinity for more info. The second major cause of coral issues is lighting. If you run into issues right when you add an otherwise healthy coral and everything else looks good, there's a high likelihood it's because the lighting or PAR is too high for that coral. Too much light is toxic to the coral and can kill it in a matter of days, where not enough light may take weeks to show signs of distress and months to die. Corals like the ones that we added to these 2 tanks will often show not enough light by stretching out and reaching for the light, as well as gradually turning brown. Corals receiving too much light will shrink up, retract polyps, bleach white, or close, and often start to lose tissue. If this happens to just a newer coral addition, then move it to a lower light area of the tank, like the sides or bottom, and give it many weeks to recover before moving it again. If this happens when you add your first batch of corals or after you make a setting adjustment to your lighting, then turn the lights down. Just remember the sliders are not a toy. This is life support for an organism that depends on you, and they thrive on stability, not tweaking. Corals can adapt to most lighting, it's simply as long as you leave it alone after. Every tweak you make should be considered an immediate setback with only a chance at improvement over the long run. Best practice, or if you really want to know that you got this right for sure, rent a PAR meter for $60 or so, and just know you got this lighting thing handled right. With corals like these, we're looking for 50 to 150 PAR in as much of the tank as possible, probably in the center of that window. The third cause of coral issues is water quality, either from slow deterioration of water quality from less than stellar feeding or maintenance practices, or from unintentional contaminants. To identify this, I'd start looking at nitrate and phosphate levels. If they're sky high, they may actually cause stress, but more so just general indications of low quality polluted water. Most first-year reefers are shooting for a few parts per million nitrate and then a few tenths of a point phosphate in a new tank. In established tanks where algae is less of a threat, nitrate can often be found at 10 or so parts per million, and I'd personally consider it worth addressing if your approach to feeding or filtration are rising above 20 parts per million. The bucket test is also something you can consider as well. Put a bucket of water from your tank next to a bucket of freshly mixed salt water, and you'll be able to visibly see if the water is polluted. It doesn't need to be perfect, but tests like these are solid pulses on water quality. There are also unintended pollutants that can cause issues like lotions, oils, soaps, or other residues on your hands, aerosols used on or near the tank are a no-no, really any unintended pollutant. Anytime I suspect low quality water or unintended pollutants is the issue, my knee-jerk solution is change out the carbon, but this time use a little extra and preferably in a powered filter. But I don't see a result where things improve in a day or two. It's my personal opinion that on tanks this size, it's not time for anything cute like special medias, which can have unintended consequences. It's time for good old-fashioned water changes and getting those pollutants out. Do 3 to 4 30% water changes a few days apart and turn over most of the water in the tank. If you suspect a particularly harmful accidental contaminant and things are dire and rapidly deteriorating with hardy corals like this, as long as it's properly mixed and heated, 50% or even 90% water changes are better than letting things deteriorate further. In any case, if water changes solves your issue, it's absolutely time to look at the general maintenance practices, potential pollutants, and what was in the water that was stressing the corals out so you can avoid that in the future. The fourth type of coral issue is pests, fungus, or infections. These types of things often only affect a single coral or type of coral. In this case, it's time to take a coral out and dip it. We talked about dips in previous episodes, but depending on what you suspect, I'd consider Coral MD Pro or Coral Revive for most pests. Do the dip and then look closely at what's in the water after. If you see something that concerns you, take a picture and share it on Reef to Reef or on the hashtag AskBRStv Facebook group, and the community will help you identify what it is. If you suspect a fungus or microbial infection, there are a couple of paths: iodine-based dip like Brightwell's MediCoral or Tropic Marine's Pro Coral Cure. These are great for GSP or zoanthids that won't open, or Euphyllia like torches, hammers, or frog spawn that are deteriorating. Frankly, with Euphyllia, I'd also consider cutting off the disease portion. That will often stop the progression right there. One of these solutions or approaches should solve your issue in a vast majority of cases. If it doesn't, the best thing you can do is take detailed pictures and then share them with the reefing community. If you want to ask us in the BRStv community directly, hashtag AskBRStv Facebook group is best. Just remember, the more details and effort you put in the request for information, the better the solutions will be. So detailed, high-quality pictures, what happened, what you've actually tried before, and system parameters are helpful to those who want to help you. This leads us right into the next big question. What's next for the 5-minute guide? This much I can tell you, if you want your questions answered, this is what it's all about. I think you're going to want to see how we do it. The entire 5-minute guide is always found here, but if you want to see how we're going to answer your reefing questions answered directly by the BRS team, this is it.